CEO, Max Armbrruster, who will be talking about updates on the coronavirus pandemic and some insights on recruitment technology. Take it away, Max.
Thanks, Aris. Hello, everybody. Yesterday, I prepared a few slides to talk to the BPO sector in the Philippines about what was going on. And I wanted to share some of this data with this audience, which we have a lot of people who are affected. And I think we have a unique insights into what's going on in the life of recruiters and the life of candidates at Talkpush, and some interesting data that I know it's just data. It's not good or bad. It's just data. So I hope you'll find something in it for you. Just 2 months ago, we were having our client appreciation night, and it just seems like an absolute lifetime ago. This is a picture that we took for that event, which was in Manila, and coronavirus was already in the news, but I guess it wasn't that big of a deal back then. And I hope we didn't catch any germs during that event. But certainly we do miss those times when we all get together. But what I want to share with you is that the industry has adapted remarkably well. We look at first of all, we look at the candidate volume. This is mostly Philippine data and from our customer base, and you can see the volume month by month. So this is April, the last column here, March, February, January, etc. And well, the candidate volume is quite flat. You know, it's not gone up, it's not gone down tremendously. I suppose some people are more actively looking than other times because they lost their jobs, while others are just waiting for the lockdown to be over because they assume that no one's going to be hiring right now. And so it's flat, which is neither good nor bad, as I said. And then, you know, obviously we were growing quite rapidly before that. And for many of our employers, there's literally millions of candidates waiting in their database that are probably good to re-engage now. But at least as far as like the actively searching candidate, the volume is steady. So I think in a changing world, it's nice to see some steadiness. And this is the number of recruiters who are logging into Talkpush every month. And you can see, this is mostly the Philippines, and you can see the number is growing nicely because we're a rapidly growing company up until, you know, February. And then in March, when the crisis hit, around the middle of March, if you remember ACQ, that's when we had actually a huge increase in the number of recruiters who would log in. So my read on this situation is that all the recruiters were asked to go work from home, and all of them were able to do so. And as June was saying, it's amazing, like that we've been waiting for this long to make it happen. And I think we have a majority of the people on this call who are recruiters, and some of you are enjoying working from home more than others. Some of you can't wait to get back to the office, and some of you are really enjoying work from home. Well, I don't want to. I'm not your union representative, but I can say that history shows us that when employees get a certain benefit or a certain right or a certain freedom, it's kind of hard to take it away from them. And so if some of you are really enjoying your time working from home, I think it's perfectly fair for you to ask whether you can continue to retain some of these rights and this freedom into the post-corona world, because it's working, you know, and you're being effective, and take this opportunity to learn how to be very effective doing it. A little comment perhaps on the April number, which has dropped. It's dropped to basically January number or January, February number. So not a big drop, but I suspect a number of companies have decided, well, there's no hiring going on, so I'm going to do some retrenchment. I'm going to reduce my talent acquisition team. That's a 20% drop. It's not insignificant. It's probably short-sighted by the employers who are missing the opportunity that this huge shift in the labor force, people who are leaving their job and who are going to re-enter the workforce is a wonderful opportunity for employers. But there you go. So that did affect the number a little bit. On our end, our work is very similar to what it was before at Talkpush. We haven't really changed much. Our software is available whether you log in for the office or whether you log in from home. But we've made some adjustments to the candidate experience on the chatbot side. We've added some FAQs so that candidates who are have all kinds of new questions about safety, about the crisis, about work from home. These questions can be addressed 24/7 in real time, and I think that's that's what you should expect from all your candidate interfaces, whether they're web, Facebook Messenger, or other, is to deliver a real-time experience and to be extremely transparent, especially in a time of crisis. I won't go too far into this this presentation to explain how to do sourcing on social distancing. I think everybody here logging into the webinar knows how to keep busy and knows how to use these tools. Maybe some of you are experimenting with them a little bit more than usual, but obviously it's completely normal to be able to do that. I have looked at the marketing budgets for some of the largest employers in the emerging markets, and it's amazing to me that still 60-70% of marketing expenses still go towards, used to go before coronavirus, used to go to career fairs and job fairs. And there's nothing wrong with them. I love job fairs myself, but you can see that today's event, it took us a few weeks to organize, to invite people, and we have a really big showing. We have 150 people listening to this webinar. It's not easy to get 150 people to come to a room, to come to a hotel. You have to provide them with a buffet, free food, free drinks. It's a lot easier to get 150 people to sign up to a webinar, actually. Either that or my marketing team just got incredibly good over the last couple of weeks. So my point is, this also works online, and this means that you should be ready for a new world where there's more volume, more data, more applicants. And the question now is, how are you going to process all of this data as fast as possible? And that's what we're here talking about in today's call. And here's some examples of some virtual career fairs that have been organized by some of the largest employers. I want to say a quick word about what's it like to work remotely and work from home, and to say that it's got really some fun and some highlights and some lowlights. Being far from each other is hard, but we can compensate that. We can do more of these webinars. We can have regular calls with our employees, and we can ask people, how are you doing? There's just, how are you doing? How's your family doing? And I know the great empathy of the Philippines. I'm sure that's going on. Another way to do it, and we've been working distributed and remote at Talkpush for a long time, is to have these regular touch points that are a little bit non-work related. And we have this new thing that we've implemented recently, where we get connected randomly to somebody who's not from our department for a 15-minute chat to talk about anything. And these random connections have brought a degree of humanity that really, of connectivity, that was very welcome in this time of crisis. And I'm gonna leave with this a bit of a dry graph here, but let me explain what's going on here. This is the volume of the recruitment process outsourcing industry, the RPO world, and what was their history from the last recession. The last recession in 2008, when the world was exploding. Most of you who are on this call were probably not working yet, but I was, and I can tell you it was a bloodbath. Everybody thought that the banks were going to shut down, that business would never go back to normal, etc. And so what happened then is the majority of recruiters got laid off. Talent acquisitions teams got destroyed. And what happened was when the recovery finally came, when the activity resumed to normal levels, companies were so cost conscious and so wary about spending any internal cost that they ended up going to outsourcing the work to the RPO world. So instead of hiring recruiters internally, they would hire recruiters from an agency and to do their work. And so you saw a quick growth of the industry during this period, which ends up costing, of course, a lot more for the employer. The employer who has to outsource the work ends up spending more than if they insource the work. Today, I expect that as we saw in this graph where the volumes of recruiters have dropped. So I expect that there was some redundancy in the Philippines, and I expect that your departments are going to be a little bit depleted when you come back, especially as you get ready for the big rush. So when I say the big rush, when people coming back to work. So look at this time as a time of opportunity for automation, for how do you handle more data with less people, and try to avoid having to, last resource is going to a staffing firm, which is going to cost a lot more. And so it's a great contingency plan, but it shouldn't be your first move. So you need to be prepared for what's going to come next. And to end on a positive note, wanted to say that we may be coming into the biggest recruiting drive of the decade, maybe in the history of the Philippines. When's the last time you got 1 million people who were going to be activated, or 500,000 people for the BPO industry in the Philippines, for example, who are going to be activated in a matter of weeks? This has never happened before. So I hope everybody's ready and excited. And we at Talkpush are really excited to be part of that recovery and to work with all of you to make it happen.
Thank you, Max.